Rick Madison in Penticton with Leader of the Opposition, Pierre Poilievre. Welcome.
Good to be with you.
So I have to ask, why are you here? Because we are in a bit of a conservative hotbed. So why would you be here?
Well, the people of the South Okanagan have felt betrayed by the NDP that took this seat and then forgot about the people they work for and signed on to this disastrous coalition with the NDP, with the Liberal leader, Justin Trudeau. And now look what we've got. Housing costs have doubled. Cost of food is spiraling out of control. Work doesn't pay. Homelessness, drugs, crime, chaos is rampant in our streets. This is the consequence of Trudeau NDP policies, and Canadians across the country, but especially right here in the South Okanagan, are demanding common sense, which is what I represent.
What is the reaction you're getting across Canada? I mean, obviously there's different regions you're going to be targeting, but what kind of reaction are you getting across Canada?
Very strong. People agree with my plan to bring home lower prices by axing the carbon tax and capping spending, cutting waste, to bring down inflation and interest rates, by removing bureaucracy to build more affordable homes, and with jail and not bail for repeat violent offenders so that we can take back control of our streets and bring home safety to our people.
A lot of naysayers are saying you don't have a climate action plan. Do you have an answer for that?
Well, our approach is technology and not taxes. As we've seen, is the carbon tax didn't stop the forest fires, and it never will. What we need is a common sense plan to greenlight green projects. We need to greenlight nuclear power for Alberta, Saskatchewan, Ontario, and New Brunswick to replace coal fire. We need to greenlight more hydroelectric dams, carbon capture and storage. We need more natural gas liquefaction facilities so that we can ship our clean gas over to Asia and shut down dirty coal-fired plants. These are common sense policies that will actually reduce emissions. Here's the difference. The NDP and Liberals want to raise the cost of the traditional energy we still need with a 61 cent a litre carbon tax. That's what's coming, folks, if these guys get back in. I want to lower the price of carbon-free alternatives by producing more clean, green Canadian electricity here in this country and harvesting the minerals of electrification like lithium, graphite, cobalt, and others, because we have it beneath the soil, but we take 25 years to build a mine. I think we can do it in 18 months. That's how we bring home the money and bring down the emissions.
So you're saying let's diversify, let's use the technology in order to build a greener future. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and use our resources. We have the resources of a green economy right here. We have the 6th biggest supply of lithium. We don't mine any of it. Why? It takes 25 years to get a mine permit in Canada. We have hydroelectricity in BC, Quebec, and the Maritimes and Atlantic Canada in order to liquefy gas without any emissions. We have the best carbon capture technology in the world in Alberta, but it takes forever to get permitting and there are no incentives to do it. I want to incentivize us to bring home the green energy production to this country using our incredible minerals and the brilliant workers that only Canada has.
Let's switch gears a little bit. You've been on seemingly the campaign trail for about a year now. How is it holding up with family right now?
Well, that's tough. My wife is a pillar of strength, and importantly, her extended family have really stepped in to help us with the kids when we're on the road. But we're doing this because we want a better future for our family and yours. So it's a sacrifice that is hard to make, but worth doing.
So speaking of Canada and Canada issues, anecdotally, I'm speaking to a lot of people that are actually thinking about leaving Canada. What is your answer back to that?
Everything's broken in Canada after 8 years of Trudeau and the NDP, but it's ridiculous. Look around you. Why would anyone want to leave this? It's incredible. We just have such an amazing country. And I hear the same thing. People say nothing works there. They don't feel safe when they walk around the streets. Their kids can't move out of the basement when they're 35 years old, which means birth rates are down. The cost of everything's driving crazy. And then you've got our government in Ottawa that's trying to censor people so they can't even criticize what they see around them. I understand, but let's not give up on Canada. Let's fight for Canada. Let's bring home the Canada that we know and love. It wasn't like this before Justin Trudeau, and it won't be like this after he's gone. So we're going to bring home the Canada that we know and love.
So the election.
Yes.
A lot of people are talking about that. Obviously, you're on the election trail, so to speak, pre-election trail. With somebody saying they're going to defund the CBC, and you have perhaps a lot of media that might be left-leaning, you're kind of up against it. How do you plan to work around that or work through that if you're going to become our next prime minister?
Look, first of all, we have to stop wasting money. We can't afford to waste money. Trudeau's doubled the debt in 8 years. He's had more debt than all prior prime ministers combined. He's printed $600 billion in cash to pay for it, and that's why we have inflation and higher interest rates. So I'm going to be cutting waste wherever I find it. Right now, CBC takes $1.5 billion. They get something like 6% of the TV market. Like, almost nobody watches CBC TV, and yet we're spending a fortune on them. They have these palaces, these big palaces in Toronto, Montreal, Ottawa, that could be turned into affordable housing. So, CBC will lose $1 billion, and they're going to have to find ways to run their operations like private businesses do, in ways that drive value and attract interest. They can raise money through subscriptions, advertising, and sponsorship. That's how everyone else does it. The good news is the cost of generating media content is way down, so it shouldn't cost them all this money. That's common sense.
So common sense, austerity, those are things that some Canadians are not excited about. Is there a way, like a balanced budget makes people think cuts?
Well, first of all, you want austerity? This is austerity. This is austerity. What you're living today is austerity. You can't afford food. That's austerity. You can't afford the rent. That's austerity. Justin Trudeau has brought abundance for the government and austerity for the people. I want to do the opposite. I want government to be small so that people can be big. I believe $1 left in the hands of the person who earned it is better spent than $1 in the hands of the politician who taxed it. I'm going to bring abundance, super abundance, with powerful paychecks. People can earn and keep and afford their rent, afford a home, afford a beautiful quality of life. That's the abundance that Pierre Poilievre is going to deliver by making the government smaller and the free enterprise system bigger.
So you're not going to double the size of the workforce for the public sector?
No, I'm not. Definitely not. Where does the money come from? The government can't give you anything without taking it away. The government has no money. It's all your money. Every time Justin Trudeau promises you something, he's reaching in your pocket to pay for it. So here's the question. Do you believe you spend your money better than he does? I believe you do. I trust you. It's your money. You should keep it.
Okay, we'll wrap things up, but I've noticed on your channel especially that every day there's another criticism of the government. You are, of course, a vocal leader of the opposition. Some people say, okay, at some point we got to stop taking shots at him, and we gotta move on and have your own plan and talk about your own. What are your thoughts to that criticism of your criticism?
Look, I'm the leader of the opposition. I'll stop criticizing Justin Trudeau when he stops being prime minister. But if he wants to be the CEO of a $500 billion corporation called the Government of Canada, you better believe I'm going to hold him accountable, especially with all the damage he's doing. I mean, look what he's done. He's the worst prime minister in Canadian history, by far. And just by every objective analysis, there's never been such a serious reduction in the quality of living and the standard of living in our country than there has under Justin Trudeau. Rent doubled, mortgage payments doubled, down payments have doubled, crime is up by 40% in 8 years, food prices up faster than any time in 4 decades. We have in Penticton, we have middle-class seniors living in their cars in Canada. And people say I should stop criticizing Justin Trudeau. Listen, there are countries where nobody criticizes the leader. Do you want me to go down the list? North Korea, Cuba, Communist China. We can be like that. Or we can be Canada, which is a democracy where leaders are held to account. I prefer the Canadian way.
Okay, you've Do you watch the polls? Is that a daily occurrence for you?
I take a sneak peek once in a while, but then I look away very quickly.
Is
My poll, you know what my poll tells me? I'm one vote behind. So I need to fight for more support. Pride precedes the fall, so I can't get cocky or confident. My goal is to work hard every day and earn it because the Canadian people owe me nothing.
This has been very enjoyable. Thank you again.
Thank you,
Mr. Poilievre, for sharing your time.
It's great to be back. We used to vacation here as kids in a little tent. I think it was on Skaha Lake, so it brings back some beautiful memories to be in the South Okanagan.